Hey, everybody. Welcome to Red Carpet Healthcare Solutions. I'm your host, Dr. Ryan Molli, along with my co-host,
Travis Buzzell. So excited about this one. Without further ado, would love to announce our guest here, Zed Williamson from the Louisiana area. He owns a company called TrackableMed, which we're very eager to learn more about and hopefully educate.
And so at that point, I went down a crazy deep dive into neuroscience, human behavior, what actually drives behavior change, and continued a career where I kept trying to change that advertising world. Let's do things on purpose. Let's actually achieve outcomes. And the industry didn't want to do that because unfortunately, media companies just want to brag about audiences. A lot of times, and this might hurt some people's feelings, ad agencies want to be quote unquote creative, but no one ever said, hey, we're going to go achieve this business outcome. A company is spending money. There should be a return on investment. And here's a plan to get there. So I started TrackableMed, and I started in the medical space because it seemed like that was this space that was so many patients don't know that there's a solution for them. And one of the most common things I hear from surgeons and physicians is a patient will say, man, I wish I had come in sooner. Well, that is telling us something. They should have come in sooner, but they didn't know, or they were biased against it. So I started a company, got introduced to some practices through medical device, and we started our first campaign in May of 2011. And we had this amazing response. Patients, the ideal patient from a very specific procedure, just responded like crazy. I had hired a call center at the time to take the calls and transfer them to the private practices that were participating. And we sent 40 patients to this one practice. And I just was thinking, holy moly, this is the greatest success ever. I saw that surgeon's caller ID on my flip phone, flipped open the phone to answer it, thinking he was going to offer to buy me a yacht. And he just let me have it. Said I was a total fraud. What a waste of money, no return on investment. And I was completely confused. On accident, those calls were recorded. I listened to him, and that's when I met who I refer to as Agnes, who hates her life, that was answering all of his phone calls. And she was just bludgeoning the opportunity of these patients actually coming in for an appointment. And I said, okay, we have to control that. So I started a appointment setting call center, trained the team in understanding of human behavior and bias. And that's where the company started, so that we would connect with a practice that wanted more very specific ideal patients. They loved treating them. They had good outcomes and they were healthy for the practice. And then we would answer the phone as the practice and book the appointment, being able to say, here's the very specific result. It's something you can deposit into the bank account. So that's the history of the company TrackableMed.
how do you, the third thing that you mentioned was kind of like improving that quality of life and not just kind of as a private practice guy thinking, well, not only are reimbursements like stagnant, they're going down, right?
Yep.
So how do you shift that mentality of such negativity to positivity for physicians and saying, okay, there's a way out of this? Because that's part of this is right. It's like the healthcare solutions. How do we provide those private practice and maybe they're even employed physicians solutions for this, what seems to be very dire straits, right? With declining reimbursement each and every year.
What is the breakdown or all the specialties that, this isn't like specific to one thing. It sounds like you can kind of plug and play, there's probably some,
Heavy hitters.
Yeah. And some specialty things that probably align a little bit more, but like, what are the sort of specialties that, TrackableMed is currently working with?
Do you have different platforms within?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we do is we do a diagnostic. It's very similar to what you would do with a patient. Is we first are going to identify what are the constraints and what are those constraints worth to the practice, and then we build a plan to fix them. I have to say that the Physician Growth Accelerator is a consulting partner, and I hate the word consulting because most of the time it feels like I'm going to point out all the bad stuff and then I'm going to leave you. What we do is we operationalize the data and then put training or changes in place.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Zed.
Zed,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you so much. I appreciate
Thank you guys.
man.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.